Welcome, Door Grow property managers, to the Door Grow Show. If you are a property management entrepreneur that wants to add doors, make a difference, increase revenue, help others, impact lives, and you are interested in growing in business and life, and you're open to doing things a bit differently, then you are a Door Grow property manager. Door Grow property managers love the opportunities, daily variety, unique challenges, and freedom that property management brings. Many in real estate think you're crazy for doing it. You think they're crazy for not, because you realize that property management is the ultimate high trust gateway to real estate deals, relationships, and residual income. At DoorGrow, we are on a mission to transform property management business owners and their businesses. We want to transform the industry, eliminate the BS, build awareness, change perception, expand the market, and help the best property management entrepreneurs win. We're your hosts, property management growth experts, Jason and Sarah Hull, founder, COO of DoorGrow. And now let's get into the show. All right. So we were thinking what we should talk about today. And one of Sarah's strong passions is dogs. I think Sarah likes dogs more than people.
I do.
Is that fair?
That's accurate.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's an INTJ. Any of you that are familiar with Myers-Briggs, INTJs typically like animals more than people. I don't know why. So, and I like dogs too. So, not a fan of cats. I'm allergic to them, and I think they're smelly. Sorry, all you cat lovers out there, but I'm more of a dog person. So this, you can see in the background here, is, hey buddy, who's smelling around. This is a dog that we're fostering right now. And the working title for this dog is Hans. They give them names, but this is a dog we're fostering, and it's such a sweet dog. And so this is a passion of Sarah's. We've been fostering some dogs, and we've had some difficult times fostering dogs, and we've had some good times, should we talk about our first foster, Chance?
Yeah. If that didn't turn us off to fostering.
Okay.
It was like worst case scenario, I would say.
So Sarah's dog, one of our dogs, is he's a large dog, and he's a pit bull.
He's an American pit bull.
Pit bull terrier. 100%. We got him DNA tested, purebred. And then we have another little mutt that we can talk about that we got.
Well, that happened though was after the whole Chance thing.
Yeah, totally. So we decided to foster. We brought a dog in, and this dog's name was Chance, and he was a pit bull. And we thought maybe they'll get along. And but we didn't know Chance's background. We didn't know Chance's history. The previous people made it sound like he was a good dog, sort of, but they really, I think, were kind of keeping secrets from us and gave us a bunch of rules, like keep them, be careful with other dogs, and separate for a while. And we did everything.
Well, that's always the rule.
Sure.
Careful with other dogs, be separate for a while. Slow introductions, never feed together. That's those are always the rules. So you say that as if that was a red flag. That was not a red flag.
Okay.
They tell you that with every dog.
They had to have known that this dog had some violent tendencies or some history. So long story short, this dog bit Sarah. They gaslit us and blamed it bit her arm. And they were like, oh, well, there was food involved or something like this. We're like, okay, maybe it was us. We'll be more careful. So we still kept the dog. And we had the dog for a month.
With that too, because we right then and there we thought, okay, I think we're done. I think he's got to go back. Someone else can foster him.
Yeah.
And they kind of talked us into it. Like, oh, well, can you just hang on to him until I find another place for him to go? Because nobody can take him right now.
I don't think there's any safe place for that dog to go. So later, at this point later, it had been a month. We had integrated the dogs. They were hanging out. They're on the couch together. It didn't seem to be a problem. It was but I think really was a working truce or something. I think this dog had a history of maybe being involved in dog fights, something like this would be my guess. Because some dogs will usually get together and they'll do a little bit of, have a little tiff, but they're not trying to kill each other, right? They'll like bite, they'll give a warning, and they'll be done with it. So I had come home from a walk. Parker came up to me. I played with him a little bit. He did a little playful sort of growl with the toy or whatever. The other dog gets off the couch. This dog had no expression. He's just headed towards Parker. Parker saw him, and it was on, and saw him coming towards me. And they just locked up, and they got into this horrible dog fight. This was we have a long entryway into our home, like a big hallway, like entryway that runs kind of all the way to the back of the house almost, right? And this was in our family room towards the back of the house. And the fight continued all the way to the front door. Like it was a disaster. This dog Chance and Parker were fighting, and we were trying to break it up. Sarah was on with Parker trying to pull him, and I was trying to get Chance off. And Sarah, you were freaking out, if you don't mind me saying. Yeah. And
I mean, yeah. Like rightfully so.
Yeah, she's freaking out. And so it was interesting. So there's blood everywhere. There's blood flying all over the place. The dogs are locked up and fighting, biting on each other. And so then if I had my gun or a knife on me, that dog probably would be dead. So I didn't because I couldn't figure out what else to do. And we weren't going to let him kill our dog. And he was much stronger than Parker. So we didn't want Parker to die, right? So, but what I did in that moment is I was like, I had done a little bit of jujitsu training in the past. So I was like, oh, I'm going to choke him out. I first tried to lift the legs up because that's what people say. That wasn't really a great idea because I lifted his back legs up and to try and pull him off. And he just turned and latched onto my leg. He turned really quickly, latched onto my leg, bit my leg through my pants. I have permanent bite mark on my right leg, and had latched onto my leg through my pants and was biting me. Then Parker was coming at him. So he turned back to Parker. And then I used that moment when he came at my leg towards me to get my arm underneath his neck and then to choke him out, just like in martial arts. So I did a blood choke, and I figured he's probably got veins going through his neck to his brain, just like all of us humans. And I choked him out. And then he passed out. I was holding him in my arm, and I picked him up and was choking him out because he eventually released Parker. And I was choking him out. I'm holding this limp dog in my arm. And then Parker was latched onto one of his legs or something. And Sarah was like, what do I do? What do I do? He won't let go. And I was like, Sarah has a martial arts background, so I figured you knew how to do a choke. So I was like, choke him out. You got to choke him out. So she had to grab Parker and get him to release. And he did. Parker really was trying to protect us. That was obvious. But Parker was losing. Like it wasn't going well for him. Parker, the other dog had some bites on him, but he was okay. But Parker had to go to the hospital. Like he was really messed up. He had to get surgery. His ear was like torn in half.
Yeah, his ear was torn, and then he had a chunk ripped out of his neck.
Yeah,
out of like the back of his neck.
It was ugly.
Yeah,
so
it was not good.
While I had Chance in the chokehold and limp, I carried him through the house to the backyard and put him into the backyard and shut the door so we could just keep them separate. And then, I was totally scared of that dog after that. So, but that's what we did. And eventually I think we just got him into a crate or something. So he wasn't in the backyard.
Yeah. No, I had to go get him.
Yeah.
Into the crate.
Yeah.
Because you were like, I don't think he's going to want to see me. I just choked him out.
No,
like, that's probably a good call.
Probably would want to attack me because I was pretty rough with him. So that's my adventure in choking out a pit bull. Yeah.
So I think you never really know what you're going to do until you're like in the moment.
Yeah.
And then your adrenaline kicks in, and sometimes you know what you're going to do, or you think you know what you're going to do ahead of time, and you find out there's no plan. there's no plan. And they do tell you like, oh, lift the dog's hind legs over its head and it will release. Yes, and
make
2 out of 2 times it released and then latched onto.
Yeah, they don't like their legs being lifted up.
No.
So, I mean, that was an interesting moment because I went into tunnel vision. This is how guys' brains work. We're generally singular focused. This is why they send us to war, right? We can just focus on one thing. So I wasn't really particularly traumatized by the event. I mean, but I was like, okay, I'm in mission mode. I'm doing what I need to do with the dog, and that's it. And then we got to clean up because there's blood everywhere. All through our hallway.
It was like a freaking murder scene.
Everywhere.
It was awful.
Blood all
everywhere. And then I was covered in it because I was holding Parker.
And I had a white t-shirt.
And then when I got Parker in the office and Chance was outside because Jason put him out there. And Jason looked at me and I'm literally like from here down, I was just drenched.
You were holding Parker and he was the more wounded.
Drenched.
Dog. Yeah.
And he's going, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He's like, Sarah, there's freaking blood everywhere. And I was like, it's not mine. It's not mine. Like, I'm okay. I lost my pinky nail. That got ripped off. So for a while I had no pinky nail. That was not fun.
Yeah. Like your actual nail.
Like my actual, everybody says, okay, so let me clear something up. Everybody says, oh, those aren't real nails. These are real. These are actually attached to my real nails on my finger. So like underneath you can kind of see.
Yeah, there's a real nail.
Like there are real nails here. And then, yes, I make them longer, but it's not just a tip. Like if you pull off one of these nails, it is attached to your real nail and your real nail will come off with it.
You had a flesh pinky. Like there was no nail there for a while.
Yeah.
It was kind of odd.
Yeah, it was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful.
Yeah, and it took a while for my bite mark to heal. So, yeah. So, So that was our first adventure.
Let me pause here and say, because I know some of you guys are going, why the freaking hell are they talking about any of this? It sounds awful. And it's like, oh my God, I don't even want to keep listening to the episode. Like keep listening. Because I think one of the things that I would say particularly about this situation that we had to go through is sometimes in life, sometimes also in business, you got to go through some shit. And you're going to be in some situations that you definitely did not plan for, that you've never been in before, and that maybe you don't know what to do. And in the moment, the only thing you can do is whatever comes to your mind, whatever you can think of. And then it's afterwards, then there's the PTSD. So then you just have to heal from the PTSD. But I also would say it's fair that every entrepreneur has a little PTSD from their business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, because entrepreneurs, we take bigger risks. We get to experience, issues like cash flow problems or staffing issues or team members that losing faith in us and leaving, or team members stealing from us, right?
Having to fire somebody.
If you're working for a boss, you don't generally have to experience a lot of this stuff that you experience as a business owner. We're choosing into a higher level of stress, trauma, difficulty, which is why it's not for everybody, why not everybody starts a business. And, but yeah, it's important to heal from these things and to level up from these things and learn from these things so that you can get to that next level of capacity to be able to deal with that next level of stress that exists in business. You're generally, and I tell clients this all the time, they're currently dealing with some problem they think is so hard and they're at kind of a lower level. And I'm like, I tell them someday you will look back on this as being such an easy thing for you to deal with in the present moment. You'll be like, oh man, I can't believe that was so hard for me then. I'm dealing with such bigger challenges and higher level things now. And that's encouraging for them. They're like, oh, that's good news. They're like, and they know, they're like, yeah, someday this will be easy. I'm like, someday this hiring stuff will be easy. Someday this, process stuff that you're dealing with will be easy because you're going to increase your capacity. You're going to learn, you're going to level up. It's the price of tuition in business. So let me take a quick break. I'm going to share our sponsor for this episode, which is Vendaroo. So if you are dealing with constant stress, the hassle of maintenance coordination, and that's an issue for you, check out Vendaroo. They're your AI-driven in-house maintenance maintenance expert that handles work orders from start to finish, triaging, troubleshooting, vendor selection, and coordination. It's built by property managers for property managers to provide cost-effective and accountable maintenance operations where every dollar is accounted for and every task is handled with unmatched reliability. Vendoroo takes care of the details so you can focus on growth. Schedule a demo today at Vendoroo, vendoroo.ai/doorgrow and experience maintenance done right. We were hanging out with the Vendoroo guys and I was telling them the story because we were telling them how we were fostering a dog and we had to get home, from dinner. And then we shifted in that story and they were just like so interested. So, but yeah. So if you want to check out doorgrow.com, we actually just put this up yesterday because we've been fostering and taking care of dogs and our team are really excited about this. I had the idea with one of my team members. We did a secret project. Yeah, because we knew Sarah would probably like it. So we put up a dog page so you can see the dogs that we've fostered. I don't think we put Chance on the page. Did we? No. I don't think we put Chance on the page.
No, we didn't. No.
Chance was not a great story.
But Parker isn't on there either. And Parker is the OG.
Parker's the OG. We can add Parker.
Parker's like the mascot of everything.
Yeah. So anyway, check that out. Right at the top, you'll see a little dog emoji and it says dogs on our website. And you can see, a little bit of the passion we have for helping out dogs. All right. So we told the story of Chance. And you would think after that we would be done. And I think we were for a little while. It was like, took a while to kind of, especially for you to get past the PTSD of that. Mm-hmm. You beat yourself up quite a bit about it. Which you can be good at times, right?
I'm really, because on the disc profile, I'm a DC. So I'm super critical of everything and everyone, including myself.
Yeah.
So
which good operators
had
are.
I had a hard time with that.
Yeah.
And I internalized a lot of that. I took blame for a lot of that. And I had to just kind of work my way through that. And it kind of goes back to anytime that you deal with a hard situation, it might be in business or otherwise, you're going to reflect on the situation. And some people are really good at externalizing and saying none of that was my fault. I have no ownership in that whatsoever. Some of people, they take all of the ownership and are really bad at externalizing. So I think you have to kind of find the middle ground. What am I responsible for? What am I accountable for? How can I learn? How can I learn from that? And for me, it was hands down, it was the scariest moment of my life. Most terrifying moment of my entire life. And I've been in some pretty scary situations back when I did property management. This puts it to shame. Absolute shame. But I think it's really just, it's finding the middle ground and figuring out what am I responsible for and how can I learn?
I think that some people are kinder to themselves and have more grace for themselves. And I think it's important to remember, all of us have been through tough stuff and we may beat ourselves up for it, but beating ourselves up doesn't really have any saving power. It doesn't make us better to beat ourselves up. What we can do though, is we can recognize, in that moment, and based on the decisions we made, we were making the best decisions we knew to make at that time. And I think, we can all afford ourselves a little bit of grace. You're going to make mistakes and screw things up in business. You're going to fuck up and you're going to make bad choices. I've made some big mistakes in business. I did a whole episode on my $2 million mistake or whatever. You're going to make mistakes, but that's the price of tuition in business and you keep going. But I think also we need to be willing to afford ourselves some grace and recognize we're all doing the best we can with our current limited capacity and knowledge that we possessed in that moment. And so if you knew better, you would do better, right? We are definitely going to behave differently, having had that lesson with Chance, with other dogs, right? We're a little bit more attuned to their behavior, their temperament, how to integrate them. We we're paying more attention. Like we have a different level of awareness, and that's what happens in business. If you can move past the trauma and the difficulty and you go right back at it, you pick yourself back up, you dust yourself off, you're going to learn from the experience. So should we talk about some other dogs real quick?
Yeah.
All right. Who else?
Well, let's go to the OG, right?
Parker.
So Parker's my baby. Parker is the best dog I've ever had. And I don't know if there's ever going to be a dog that is better than Parker. I just don't. I said that about my first pit bull, and then Parker, I love him so much more than my first pit bull. So Parker, I got him 2016. So he's like 8 now. And his mom was a family pet who got out of the yard one day and got herself pregnant. So she had a good old time. Her owner found out that she was pregnant and decided to drop her off at the pound because he didn't want a pregnant dog. So, instead of like spay, neuter, that whole thing, he's like, yeah, I'll just take her to the pound.
Let's get rid of her.
Like,
while pregnant.
Still going to find you, bud. Like, you're out there. I'll get you one day. So dropped her off at the pound. Pregnant dogs should not be at the pound. They will get very sick. So they moved her to a foster. She had a bunch of puppies, and Parker was one of those puppies. So I saved him. And he's my baby. He's fiercely loyal and protective of me, even when he probably shouldn't be. Sometimes with Jason, he's protective of me. Like, you'll smack my butt. Parker does not like that.
I do smack Sarah's butt, everybody. Yeah. Honest confessions. Husbands, Parker, if you are not smacking your wife's butt occasionally, something's wrong. I'm just letting you know. So.
Yeah, but Parker doesn't know. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know it's friendly and playful and loving.
No,
he knows hitting is bad.
I have to do it when he's not nearby.
Yeah. I can't, to be fair, I can't hit myself either. So like if a bug lands on me or something, I hit myself.
Yeah. He starts getting around you and like trying to climb on you and like protect you from yourself. Yeah.
He does.
And he'll try and get in between us and like prevent me from getting near her. Yeah.
He does. He does. So Parker was the first dog that I had ever
like a nanny dog
rescued. Yeah. He is a nanny dog. We call him the nanny dog. He is. And we say when he's doing his thing, I'm like, oh, he's nanny dogging again.
Yeah.
So we've got Parker. And then after the whole Chance thing, we took a break for about 8 months. And then I thought, okay, well, what if we do a smaller dog? Because after that, Parker was more selective with bigger dogs. Rightfully so. That's his version of PTSD. So I thought, okay, well, maybe a smaller dog could work. And that is where Captain came in. So Captain, just for size reference, Parker varies between 80 and 85 pounds.
Big dog.
Captain is 14 pounds.
Yeah, Parker's tall like a lab, but built like a pit bull.
Yeah. So Captain is only 14 pounds. He's a little baby. He's about
tiny,
3 or 4-ish. We got him from a shelter about like an hour and a half away, an hour and 45 minutes away. And someone had him and his 2 brothers and decided they were done with him. So they shoved them in a crate and they dropped them off at an animal shelter overnight.
Yeah, because it says you're not allowed to leave animals here. Mm-hmm. So they secretly did it in the middle of the night, left a crate there.
On the doorstep. So the staff came in at 7 a.m. and found 3 dogs shoved in a crate.
Mm.
Yeah. Super. Don't be like these people. Be better. Okay. So then him and Parker actually worked really well together. And like Captain just loves Parker so much. He just loves him so much. Like I take Parker to the chiropractor and Captain stays here. And when I come back with Parker, Captain is way more excited to see Parker than he is to see me. He loves me so much, but he's like he's
jumping all over Parker.
The moon about Parker.
Mm-hmm.
So Captain is our second rescue.
And he's kind of a mutt. We did a DNA test on
him. No, he's absolutely mutt.
Yeah, he's got rat terrier.
Mm-hmm.
He's got.
Let's see if you could do them in order. Probably not.
I don't know. Rat terrier is probably the largest.
Rat terrier is the largest.
What's next?
Then American Pit Bull Terrier, which is why he's brindle on the top.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. American Pit Bull Terrier. Then Super Mutt.
Yeah, that's what the
That's a
DA
breed.
said, Super Mutt.
I'm like, oh, wow. They call it a Super Mutt. Okay.
Okay.
It's like 14% Super Mutt,
Uh-huh.
I think. Boston Terrier, Yorkshire Terrier, and then Dachshund.
Yeah.
Which is what we were told he was.
Yeah. And he's little. He's really little.
Yeah.
He likes to get in our face all the time.
Yeah.
All right. So next dog.
Yeah. So we've had Captain for a little over a year now. And then I thought, okay, let's foster. We won't adopt another one, but like we'll foster. We'll, help train it, kind of get it back on its feet, do something good, get it ready for a family. And that's where Maynard came in.
Maynard.
That one, he's heartbreaking. So if any of you guys had followed us on social media, like a lot of people, I guess, were checking in with you, like, how's Maynard?
Yeah. It was hard to even look at him and not get emotional. This dog was so emaciated, so starving. It was a bulldog. They found him in
San
Antonio
on the street.
And this is like in the height of summer.
104-degree Texas heat, which if you know anything about bulldogs, they can't breathe because their face is smushed.
He was basically a skeleton with fur. If you see pictures or if you see it, you'll be like, oh my gosh, like, how's this dog alive?
Yeah.
He was covered in like over 100 ticks. Yeah. And he had all sorts of diseases and problems and related
lesions
to that.
And wounds. They think
he had wounds, burns, it looked like, all over his body.
He may have hidden under a car that was hot and like burned himself on the hot car trying to find some shade.
Yeah.
And cool himself down.
It's super sad.
Yeah.
This dog was in bad shape.
He 25 pounds and he's supposed to be probably at least 50 or 60.
Yeah. They spent a whole evening trying to pull all the ticks off of him. Like they had to give him a blood transfusion or he would have died. Like he was in bad shape.
He had 2 tick-borne illnesses. He had pneumonia. He needed a blood transfusion just to survive this. He was obviously severely emaciated and severely dehydrated.
Yeah.
And eating, you can't just take a dog like that and shove a bunch of food. Like Edla, she was like, oh, we could just feed him a lot. And I'm like, you'll kill him, he'll die. Yeah. So your body, what happens when you're that far along is muscle atrophy. So your body will eat the muscle. So he had literally no muscle left on him
he could hardly walk
at all.
He would just crumple over when he would try to walk. He'd fall the time.
Man, but he would try. He was really he tried. You think that a dog like this with this many problems would just say like, fuck it, I'm out. Like I probably would. If I was up for it, I'd be like, all right, just like, where's the plug? Pull it. Let's do it. But he did not. He did not want to give up. He did not want to die.
We had him for about a week.
We had him for a week.
And then he was in bad shape. I don't even think they should have let him come to us, but they didn't know all the stuff that was wrong with him.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't know everything because they didn't do the full scan.
So we had him for a week and took care of him, but we started to notice he was getting worse. So then we reached out to the foster organization, and then they took Maynard to the doctors, and they were like, he was in bad shape. His whole esophagus had been destroyed, so he couldn't move food down. They figured out, well, he just needs to sit upright and gravity, and maybe that'll heal over time. I don't know, but he had a whole bunch of issues. But before they figured that out, they were like, this dog is in such bad shape. He's not really getting food down. He's
well, they didn't know what exactly
was so they were about to put him down
when I brought him back to the vet. So they started doing some tests on him. They said he actually lost weight. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. He's been with me for a week. He's eaten every day and he wants his food. Desperately wants his food. And that doesn't make any sense. How did he lose weight? And they're like, I don't know. So then they found out that he had a very rare parasitic infection that attacked his liver. He has heart disease. His pneumonia has gotten worse. And then they we're trying to figure out the whole why did he lose weight type situation. And they ended up doing a scan. They did not think he was going to make it. There was so much going on with him. Like issues as long as my arm. The list was as long as my arm. And they didn't think he was going to make it. So the president of the organization, she let me know. She's like, I have to make a really tough decision right now.
And they put a lot of money towards this dog. The whole like a lot.
Thousands of dollars. It was, I think his treatment was somewhere, all of it was like over like $7,000 so far.
Yeah. Like they were really doing everything they could to take care of this dog. But she was at the point where she was like, I think we're gonna have to.
Yeah. Oh, and he was anemic on top of all of that, so he couldn't keep heat in.
Okay.
Poor guy.
So like they were about to put him down, right?
Yeah. They had decided like it doesn't seem like there's anything, like he's just too far gone. And the vet came in the room like with the shot, and they said, all right, let's give him like one last really awesome meal. So they gave him mac and cheese, and he scarfed it down like you wouldn't even believe. And that whole day and the whole day before, he wasn't moving, he wasn't walking, he wasn't really interested in anything. He was just very lethargic, very tired. Yeah. He did not care. Mac and cheese, he was like, what is that? Give me all of it. Perked right up for the mac and cheese. So the mac and cheese literally saved his life because he was minutes from being put down. Bruni said that she has never been that close to putting a dog down and then didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah, but that gave her hope that, hey, there's something here. There's some life in him, and he's motivated for some reason. So
yeah. And the vet who was going to euthanize him, then she said, there is something weird with this dog. Like, it's just, there's something off. We don't know, like, is it okay if we do like the full scan? And she's like, if you think it'll help him, like if you think that we can figure this out and save him so that he has some quality of life.
So because of the mac and cheese, they just, and seeing something that seemed a little bit off because that, like, he was so excited about that and he was eating it. They then did, and he perked up, they did the scan and they found what?
So in dogs, they call it mega esophagus. So essentially his esophagus doesn't work. They think that he may have back like when he was dumped on the side of the road. And also we should have said this. He was intact. So we think that he was used for breeding. Yeah. And then when he got too far along, these fuckers dumped him on the side of the road. So they're number 2 on my hit list. Okay. I will find them. And they're not even far from me. Yeah. I will go get them. So they dumped him on the side of the road. When he was on the side of the road, they think that he either ate something or drank something that was toxic and messed up his whole esophagus. Yeah. So that's why he was eating food, but it was all impacted in his esophagus. Hardly any of it was actually getting through to his stomach. Yeah. So they found that out, and Bruni, the president of the organization, said, well, wait a second. When he was with his fosters, like he had a bowel movement. So something had to have gotten through. Like, what can we do? She's like, what if we like prop him up? They have like a little Bailey chair, but they didn't have one there. So they made a makeshift one out of like blankets and cardboard. Yeah. And they're like, what if we do like a makeshift Bailey chair, test it for 24 hours, see if any food actually gets through into the stomach? Yeah. Because that is a treatable condition. Now, if they're born with it, then that's really hard. But he wasn't born with it. Something destroyed his esophagus. So they said, oh, that's like, it's a treatable condition. So what if we try this, give him 24 hours, and then he's got to show us that he can get some food and medication down into his stomach, because all the medication for all of the problems, it wasn't even getting into his system.
Yeah. Medicine, food, nothing was making it.
Nothing, no water. Like he had a couple bowel movements with us. So like something must have, but not the way he should have been. Sure. So after a 24-hour hold, he had a full stomach of food.
Yeah, they figured out he just needed gravity. Like they had to prop him up, so he's sitting up like a human eating, Yeah. And he was perfectly happy to eat. Like he was a hungry dog. So, yeah. So the So then he went to be taken care of full-time by the
He went
head
to
of
a
the
medical
foster
foster.
organization.
Yeah.
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 And
So
so
now, because
then,
he's on
and
like
then
IVs, multiple medications, he has to eat like a very small, strict
and she has a lot
feeding
of dogs at
schedule.
her place that
Mhm.
she's taking care of. So she asked if she had another foster. She's like, could you take this dog, Silver?
Yeah.
So then we got Silver. Was the
Well,
next?
wait. The
Oh
thing I
man,
want
I
to say
went too
about
far.
the thing
Okay.
I know, the thing I want to say about Maynard is that he had every reason to give up. And he had every reason, multiple reasons. Like he had like literally so many health
Yeah, and
problems.
everybody around him had multiple reasons to give up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
He had every reason to not trust humans and every reason to be like a nasty, vicious dog. And he just wasn't. He was not. He was so sweet and he loved to like just shove his little smush face into me
Yeah.
and just nuzzle it.
And
And when
climb
it
on
was
you.
in there, he still wasn't close enough. He was still like pushing, trying to get closer because I think that was the first time he ever experienced love. And even though he had every single reason stacked up against him, like the odds were not at all in his favor, there's no reason that this dog should technically be alive.
Yeah.
It's only because he's so freaking stubborn. He did not want to give up on himself. Even through all of that, he didn't want to give up on himself. So when we were going through all of that, like with him, I was telling people, like when I would run my scale calls on Fridays, my our operations call, I was telling people, like, if this dog can go through everything that he went through and still push through whatever is happening in your business, whatever is happening in your life, whatever's happening in your marriage, in your friendships, in your relationships, you can push through it. Because every single time that they thought they had the issue figured out, there were like 5 more issues that popped up with him.
Yeah. Just tell yourself you're not yet Maynard. You're not yet at Maynard level. You can handle it. So, okay.
So
He also
don't
had a
give
really good support mechanism around him eventually, right? And I think that's also, there's a little lesson in that, is that you need, if you're going to go through tough stuff, it's a lot better to have the right support around you and to have people that believe in you, even when you might feel like giving up, and that, you know, can see that you can be better. And we need those people around us. And so if you don't have that in your business, it's probably feeling pretty hard because you feel like it's all up to you and you're all on your own. And that's a dumb way to grow business. It just is. All right. Next dog.
Okay. So the medical foster that took Maynard after his third ER stint, she said, "Hey, like I cannot take another foster, but I have to take Maynard. Can you take Silver? And then that gives me room to take Maynard." And I said, "Sure." So Silver, like this is Austin Bulldog Rescue. They largely work with bulldogs. It's not only bulldogs, but most of them are bulldogs. Silver is not a bulldog. He looks like some sort of terrier. I think he had very terrier fur, but he was little, like 30 pounds, very high energy. He was probably like in his teenage phase. They also found him on the side of the road in San Antonio. The sad thing about him, though, is he had like, he was house trained. He had like house manners. So he lived in a house at one point and either escaped or was dumped, but he was hanging out with a pack of dogs and the bulldogs. He was like, these are my friends. And the rescue were saving all the dogs, and they were like, okay, there's like this other dog, like what do we do? And she's like, well, you can't leave him. Like, come on, he's an honorary bulldog now. So they fostered him, took him in, and then we had him. We had him for about a week, and he already had some applications coming in on him, and he got rehomed to a family that I think is a great fit for him.
Yeah.
They're such a good fit.
Silver had a lot of energy.
Yes.
He was like doggy teenager. He had a ton of energy, super excited, loved running around. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and they're like, we want to go for a walk every day, and we like to go on hikes, and we like to go camping, and we'll bring the dogs. And I was like, oh, he'll love that. He would love that. He would love that. And every dog that Silver saw, he wanted to play with, every single one of them. And then they have another dog. So it was just figuring out, are those two going to be nice to each other? And they're great. He's very like respectful of her boundaries, which none of us had seen previous to that. So that was really good. And they're doing great so far. And then the woman that adopted him, she sends me pictures of him. Like she's like, just so you know, he's doing great. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thanks for sending that.
All right. Next.
Next is this guy behind me.
Yeah.
Baby.
Hi.
So we wanted to do another foster. Bulldogs are a lot of work, like so much work. And we went to a shelter that's local, and we were looking. I was looking online for a dog that was not small, but also not large. So he's like 44 pounds-ish.
He's got a bit of a cough right now.
Yeah, he had kennel cough. So we're working on clearing that up with him. And they don't know a whole lot about him. They found him as a stray in Round Rock. But that's also
so sweet.
So sad because he's so sweet, and like he's house trained and he's got manners. And I'm like, oh, Jason keeps saying, he's like, this is somebody's like some family's dog. Like they must be missing their dog. And I'm like,
well-behaved
it was in the shelter for over a month. So
wow.
Yeah. Like Parker goes missing, I'm not sleeping until I find him.
Sure.
You know, there would be a bolo out on him, everything. Like I would call the SWAT team, like everybody would be involved. So now we are fostering Hans, and we're looking for a forever family for him. Although we might foster fail and keep him ourselves. We'll see. But we're
foster fail.
That's what it's called. It's foster fail.
Oh, yeah. This one's hard to.
The first day we got him, the two kids and Jason were already pushing me. They're like, we could just keep him.
He's a special dog.
It didn't take long. They're like, we could just, and I thought I was going to be the one who was weak. I thought I was going to be the one who says like, oh, we should keep him. Like, let's just keep him.
Yeah.
And shockingly enough, I was the one. I was like, yes, but like we're fostering so we can help more dogs. And the three of them, they're like, but we can just keep him. He's so perfect. Aren't you perfect? So if he gets along with our other two, then I think we might keep him. We'll see. See what happens. So
all right. So
there's our dog stories.
That's the current.
That's what Jason wanted to talk about.
Dog thing today. So gives you a little glimpse into, I guess, what our personal lives a little bit, some of the things that Sarah cares about, that we care about, and so dogs. So if you like dogs, then maybe you enjoyed this episode and maybe you learned something. I don't know. All right. Well, I think that's it for today. Until next time, to our mutual growth, everybody. If you're wanting to grow your property management business, you could use some extra support, then reach out to us. You can check us out at doorgrow.com and be sure to join our free Facebook group. If you are a property management business owner or planning on starting a property management business in the near future, go to doorgrowclub.com. It's doorgrowclub.com and join our free community. And that's it. Bye, everybody.